Hello and welcome to this range test video of the upgraded barrel in the DIY SSG96 project. If you haven't seen any of the other videos for this series, I highly recommend going out and checking out the playlist here. And if you haven't seen the install and kind of results video for this, I also recommend checking those out. That again linked up here and in the description below. But with that out of the way, let's jump on over to me standing around in a quite warm February afternoon over at Gunman Tuddenham. Hello and welcome to an uncharacteristically warm February evening up here at Gunman Tuddenham. I'm not joking, it is actually February and I'm absolutely fine standing here in a t-shirt. Messy because I've been doing some furniture restoration, Thanos' fault, but we're here making sure the site is not being trashed by people, which it's not, winning, and we're also going to do another range test with the DIY SSG project. If you've made it this far in the video, you've probably already seen the upgrades we've done. But in case I split this into two videos, we've put in a new barrel and hop-up assembly, and now we're going to test it and see how it performs. So as before, we have a target set up at 40 metres. We're going to try and put a 5-round grouping on this. It's about a head-sized target. You should be able to see the grouping on this lovely target that I printed off. Then moving on, we've got a target set up at 50 metres. Now hopefully, unlike last time, we should be able to get a grouping on the paper this time, and we can see how it performs there. And then moving on, we're actually going to reach out and try and get some sort of grouping on the 65 metre target, which is that water butt. Admittedly, I haven't put a paper target on it, but we can look at the video, see how it does. And finally, we can see if it reaches out with any kind of consistency to these oil drums at about 80-85 metres. So, with that out of the way, let's go back to the firing point and crack on with the 40 metre test. So as with the previous tests, I'm using Jess .4 Super Precision BBs, and we're going to try and put a 5-round group onto the target. So let's crack on. Scope cam is recording, target cam is recording, you're recording. Get myself nice and dirty just to give the washing machine a good workout. Right, I'm going to take 2 shots just at the water butt to make sure my point of aim is correct, and then I'll move on to the 40 metre target. See, I said water butt, I meant oil drum. Going low again. That's more like it. Right, 5-round grouping at the target. One. Two. 3. 4. And 5. Excellent. Drop the mag. Rifle is clear. Let's go. Move the camera to the 50 metre. Felt good about that one. Move it. Cool. Let's go back down to the firing position and do 5 rounds at the oil drum. Okay, so it wasn't actually the scope's fault as I originally thought. That was actually holding 0 absolutely fine. The issue was the hop adjustment was unwinding itself with the vibrations of each of the shots. Now, I spoke to people who have the Action Army chamber, and they said this does occasionally happen, but the easiest solution is just to put a bit of Teflon tape around that screw to help hold it in place, and that seems to fix the issue. The other option will be weak Loctite, which should help stop it twisting out, apart from when you apply pressure to it. Or the long-term solution is to get rid of that screw entirely and just use a top dead centre hop mod, which is something we should do, seeing as Novritsch has done that on his rifle. Anyway, in the interest of clarity, between each of the range tests, I'm resetting the hop to make sure it's performing optimally as it would be if I'd set the rifle up with Teflon tape on that screw. Fortunately, I couldn't do that because I was out of the range and I wanted to get these results done. So, with that, let's jump back on in and continue the testing. So, a couple of test shots. Right, let's move on to the paper. This mag has jammed. Yes, good thing we have a spare. Which mag is this? Number 4. Yeah, that one's got dirty from fighting in the trenches. Need to give them a clean. Let's try that again. So one at the right hand side oil drum. Okay, what we're doing now. And on the paper. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Right, 50 metre done. Excellent. Let's go sort out the cameras and move them on to the 65. So watching that footage back, it's quite clear I didn't set the hop up quite right for 50 metres. Now, that's entirely my bad. So realistically, I think we could get that grouping, into an A4 piece of paper at 50 metres. Basically, I was rushing because I was losing the light. I couldn't quite see the BBs properly at this point, but I was going off the sound of it hitting the drum and assuming that meant it had gone back to where it was, whereas it hadn't. It needed to be turned on just a bit more, just a tiny bit more. But still, it's still reaching out to 50 metres at that point, and we were able to get somewhat of a decent grouping. Right, so target camera's now recording. That's looking at the entirety of that water butt. So hopefully anywhere it goes on there we should see it hit. But I'm going to be trying to aim at this column here because, well, a bit wider than that is a person size, but if we can reliably hit this, we know we can reliably hit a person at 65 metres, which hopefully we should be able to do now. I'm probably going to have to adjust the hop again, so we're going to take a couple of shots, see how it's doing, probably turn up the hop again and then give it a 5-round group. I turned that the wrong way tonight. There you go. Right, so I think I've got the hop dial back up. Let's put 5 rounds and see how they fly. So I'm going to aim centre mass, that little bar in between the 2 holes on that water butt. See how it goes. Two. 3. 3, 4. I think they're going slightly right of where I'm aiming, so they might be going into that hole, but keep aiming. And 5. Well, it's reliably hitting the water butt at 65 metres. Yeah, it's 65 metres. Let's go out and do the 80 metre as well. Right, so that's the target cam setup. It is going to film this barrel up here. By this barrel, I mean the one standing up that is rusty. Hang on. This one right here, this is the one I'm going to aim at. But if we hear any kind of pinging off that one or these ones, it kind of shows us that our effective range is out to the kind of 80-85 metre range. But hopefully that will show us if we can hit this one somewhat reliably. Now, one of the things we need to bear in mind with this test is I'm still using 0.4 gram BBs. Now that sounds heavy to, you know, your average AEG user, but in the sniper world, 0.4 grams are kind of your 0.2 grams. So, why am I still using 0.4s? Now, one of the things we need to bear in mind with this test is I'm still using 0.4 gram BBs. Now that sounds heavy, but in the sniper community, 0.4 grams are kind of like 0.2 grams in the AEG community. They're really the lightest weight you should be sniping with. So, maybe in future I should move up to things like 0.43s, 0.45s or 0.48s. But the reason I'm still using the 0.4s is because our stock rifle, and to an extent our DIY upgraded rifle, 0.4s were the heaviest BBs we could lift. So sticking with those shows us the improvements that just changing out the components can make. However, now that we've got the new Action Army hop unit in there, that is capable of lifting heavier BBs. I've still got tons of travel left on that hop adjustment. Admittedly, it's slipping a bit, but I've still got tons of adjustment left on that hop unit, which will allow us to lift heavier BBs. So maybe at a later date, we'll come out, get some heavier BBs in it, and see how that affects our performance, both in grouping and max distance. I'm going to take some time to make sure that the scope is in the right place and the hop hasn't unwound itself. But hopefully we should be able to put some rounds out to those far targets. So let's have a go. I hit something. I am having to hold the rifle quite high. Let me just make sure it's still hopping as I think it is. Yeah, it is. Cool. Right, so for reference, I'm putting the 4th mil dot in the centre of the barrel now. Don't think that hit it, so I'll go up to the 5th mil dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th mil dot, that is in the centre of the oil drum now. Well, let's do that again. Well, that's 2 hits there. Do that one again. Three. Now, to be clear, I have no idea why that's hitting. I can't see the BB. 4. Okay, I didn't hear that hit. I think the hop's starting to unwind, and what we're hearing it hit is the pallets, so let's just go up to 6. Yeah, okay. So I'd say we've got some shots there. We're definitely reaching out to that 85 metre range, which is good. Bearing in mind this isn't 500 FPS. Now that I know roughly where the hop should be set, we'll go home and chrono it, make sure we know. In fact, actually, let's reset the hop while we're here so it's on the proper hop setting. Okay, so that wraps up today's testing. What have we done again? Well, we've done 40 metre grouping. Admittedly, we can't quite see all the hits on the paper, but after we discovered the hop kept unwinding itself, that kind of makes sense because I think they all probably hit low. In fact, 1, 2, 3. But our video should reveal where we hit, which is good, so we can add that in later. We managed to do a grouping at the 50-meter target as well, so that was something we definitely couldn't do before. So of the 5 shots I took, we can at least see 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the paper, which is good because beforehand we couldn't hit the paper. And then we managed to get groupings onto the 65-meter water butt target. Now we're going to have to check the footage for this, but from my scope view it looked like most of them were going in this sort of area, which is, you know, person and kit size, good. And finally we managed to put rounds into the oil drums out here all the way 85 metres from our shooting point. Admittedly, no idea where they went, and I was having to hold over quite high. I'm about the 6th mil dot down, but you know, area suppressor from a sniper, which you can barely see from here all the way back there to here, is not bad, to be honest, for what was about £50 worth of upgrades in it. Actually 70. Actually it's £80 and 45 pence worth of upgrades. Admittedly, there is still some faults with it. The hop adjust screw does keep coming undone. Loctite should solve that issue, or top dead center hop mod, which is what Novritsch did on his rifle, so I guess we should do it on this one. But that will be another video. Right, so I'm sure Alice's arms are now getting tired and she's getting bored. Right, so let's pat down and go home. And that is that. We actually managed to reach out to the 85 meter target. So if you want to see the kind of breakdown and analysis of those shots, that's all part of the main video, which again was linked earlier, but I'll put it back up here again, hopefully. So jump on over there if you want to see that. And if you want to watch more stuff, I'm sure there are going to be some links at the end of the video showing you some other videos. So until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Whoosh.